I really need you to get your shit back up so that we actually I don't have to keep doing the dumb little like intro fire noise.
I said 2 weeks, guys. 2 weeks. I promise. I said I will get the normal intro back. I will get the normal music back. I'll get the normal intros, everything back.
Yeah. So, I just once though, can I please have you use the actual fire, but then the audio of me doing the fire noise just once?
We'll just record the clip of that.
Yeah, you got it.
Just go that way.
So what is going on, everybody? What is going on? Welcome to this week's episode 70 of the STS Guys. I am Jeremy.
Hey, it's Larry.
Hey guys, it's Nate.
And I'm Scott.
And this week we have a special guest, Tyler, from the DC Figures and Collectibles Podcast. Welcome to the podcast, Tyler.
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm happy to be here.
It's good to have you, Tyler. Yeah, Tyler G. Batman Figs on Instagram. If you don't know this guy's account, you are missing out. Seriously, he does some amazing toy photography. And he recently started a new podcast, DC Figures and Collectibles Podcast, with his friend Scott. And you guys are on episode 15 now, right, Tyler?
Yes, we just did 16 today, actually.
Awesome. I cannot wait. I've been listening every week. I love the podcast. I got a chance to be a guest on their podcast. And Tyler was kind enough to return that favor by coming on the STS Guys tonight to give us a rundown of who Tyler is all about, a little bit about his podcast, and we're going to interact with him, have some fun. I'm glad you're here.
I'm happy to be here, man. I love watching you guys' show. You can tell you guys genuinely enjoy each other and have fun doing what you guys do. So that's always fun. And in a little way, it feels like you're a part of it when you're here watching with you guys. So I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, you've been a big supporter since we met, on your podcast, and we appreciate that. And we want to make sure we return that favor for you as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
No, it's awesome. Like I said, first and foremost, I said I have to just give Tyler props for the promo art that he dropped for his announcement for being on this episode. Like I said, that Batman 608 homage that he did. I'm like, and like, he recognized that he commented on my comment, saying he's like, hey, you got good taste. Just because like I said, I'm a huge comic book fan, so I'm more on the Marvel side of it, but I do have my DC as well. So like I said,
Jeremy dabbles.
I dabble. Dangerously enough, I dabble, but I said it's good to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's an honor,
man. Yeah, you're good about the promo. You always have some special image to go along with the tie-in. I love your promos on Instagram. Always giving those shout-outs to the people that you have on. I do want to ask you, you've been doing the toy photography for how long now? How long you've had that account?
This is going to be the 4th year that I've had it going.
Nice. And you're originally Batman TAS Figs. You switched that to Batman Figs because you kind of cover all of Batman, right? You're like the ongoing Batman expert on Instagram right now.
Yeah, I tried to keep it simple and just do animated series, and I started following a bunch of toy accounts, especially like you, and I saw what you guys were doing, and I couldn't help myself to just one Batman toy line, so I decided to expand it and just go full on every Batman toy I could get a hold of.
Yeah, I love it, man. You always put such great thought into those shots. You really think out every episode, and it's funny. I'll look at one of your posts, and it brings me right back to watching the episode. That was the DC Figures and Collectibles Podcast, a natural progression of that? Or tell us how that got started. How did you get the idea?
Ooh. First, Scott and I got asked to be on another podcast, and it was called DC Collecticast. And we tried doing it for a little bit, and we were told it was going to be one thing, and it started dabbling in other stuff, and we kind of wanted to do something that's more just collectibles and toy photography based, and people that do dioramas or anyone that collects, period, because we feel like there's not really there's a lot of people that cover pop culture, but they try to cover movies and stuff that's more mainstream. So we wanted to do this and shine a light on a lot of the people that take this hobby seriously and use it therapeutically. Like I know that when you were on the show, you said that you used it as an outlet in a time that you needed to use it. So I know I used it and came about finding it as I was recovering from back surgery, because I played baseball my whole life. So I was used to being active, and I needed an outlet bad when I was getting on back surgery, because you just lay there all day. You can only watch so much TV, and Sopranos was great, but I'm not going to watch it 3 or 4 times. So I started doing the toy photography, and of course, when you first start, you suck. But you quickly learn that the toy community is very welcoming and very supportive, and they're always there to not only give a nice comment, but say, hey, why don't you try, muting your lights a little bit, or just some little help like for that. And so at first I was super competitive about it and probably a little bit of a dick. And actually, I know I was probably a dick, but
you've never been a dick to me.
What?
I say you've never been a dick to me. You've always been a nice guy.
Okay, good. But I know that I took it a little bit too serious at the beginning, and then I started realizing, like, okay, it's not about this, and it's all because of my background, like growing up competitive. But I have since decided that it'd just be fun to, be more engaging. It's more of a community thing. I realize people just want to do this to, like, share their love of what they like in pop culture and figure wise, and yeah, I think it's fun to hear people's stories, how they got into it. If their friends think they're insane when they see their Instagram page at first. And like out of it, like I got to meet you guys, and now I'm getting to like hang out with you guys digitally, and this is a lot of fun. Like, so I think that kind of stuff and bringing people together. And when you go to the events like Comic-Con, hopefully we can see each other around and be like, hey, what's up? So,
oh yeah, I can't wait for that, man. I love what you guys are doing. I'm genuinely a big fan of the podcast. I listen every single time you post an episode, and you've had some really great guests so far. You've had, JC Malone from the toy community, The Amazing, Same Old X. I mean, these are guys I've been following since the beginning, just like your account. So to the fact that you guys bring these guys on, you shine a light on them, you help promote them by, giving awareness of what they're doing, and like you said, just sharing the love for the toy community. Like, I totally agree with you. Everybody is so supportive. And something like this, I think, is just speaking to that, just giving awareness to it. And I think toy photography in general is just getting more and more attention. And it's really cool to see a podcast like yours that's focusing on that. And those are not only guests you've had. I mean, you've had toy designers on, you've had a music legend, Kwame, you've had the owner of Horizon Comics, you had the guy from The Toys That Made Us. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Yeah. Episode 15, you've already had a stellar run up so far.
We had this guy named Figure Fan Nate on. He was
I know him.
Worst episode ever. No.
Lowest rating so far. Who is this guy? No, it's really cool, man. I really love what you guys are doing so far.
It's weird to hear you say that, because I feel like if you do anything, you kind of don't take yourself seriously. So to hear people say that they like it, just funny still. But I'm glad people like it.
Yeah, it's funny how receptive people in the community are. People that want this kind of stuff, they're fiending for it. There's not a lot of people that have podcasts like this. So to have something that's so specific to what you're doing I think it's awesome. I'm loving it.
Thank you.
And honestly, dude, like I didn't really know who you were or what your Instagram was until you had Nate on the podcast, and Nate's like, "Hey, I'm going to be on this podcast." So then I think we all ended up following you. We all listened to the Nate episode, of course, but which is episode 5, by the way. So if you are listening and you want to check out DC Figures and Collectibles Podcast with Nate, it's episode 5. But it's really good. I'm not too into action figure photography or anything. Like, I collect Funko Pops. I like sticking my Funko Pop in front of some stuff sometimes, nothing special. I'm not like you guys
That's
do.
Cool, though.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Larry's being modest here. He has taken some great toy shots before with his Pops.
I try. I'm just not totally committed yet.
I was just going to say, photography in general. I mean, does anybody remember the couch picture?
Fair. Jeremy gets credit for design aspect credit.
Yeah,
right? For that one.
Hey, real quick though. Like I said, you have to tell a story, Larry. Of Nate didn't say, "Hey, I want to be on this podcast." Nate asked permission to be on another podcast.
Oh, nice.
That is true.
He's respectful.
I gotta make sure I'm respecting my guys.
Yeah. Would you guys be upset if I was on somebody else's podcast?
Hey, I'm thankful you guys said yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
You always just want to make sure, hey guys, I'm just letting you know this is going on.
Yeah.
Do you mind?
But my point was, I'm not super into action figure photography. I appreciate what Nate does. I follow other accounts too, right? But I think your podcast is something that, even if you're just into collecting and I like superheroes, I like that stuff. I had the
like I talk about the superpowers line probably way too much, but right, I collected Kenner superpowers figures, so I've had Batman toys my whole life, man. I think your podcast is something that people can appreciate, even if you're not super into collecting right now, or like if you're not taking pictures of your own toys. And you guys get some great guests. Like, how do you decide who's going to be your next guest?
Well, sometimes I just ask and go for it and see if they respond, and sometimes I get lucky and sometimes I don't. But what I like to do is I like to get someone that either that's been following me a long time and supporting me, or also someone that I feel like doesn't have as many followers as I feel they should based on their work. They just don't get seen a lot. But I like to do a mixture. I want like one big like guest that people will be like, oh, cool, that's a big guest. But I also want someone that I could spotlight, and someone that, you know, people could learn about. But, oh, I never noticed this guy. And then you look at the account, you're like, wow, how did I not know this? So I want it to feel like it's all inclusive. I don't want it to ever feel like, oh, I try to get his big names, or, you know, if you have 20,000 plus, I'll ask you. But other than that, no. So
yeah, because you're right. I mean, everybody has to start somewhere, and it's hard to get that recognition. Same like with the Funko stuff, right? Like there's people who I follow who have some really cool stuff, but they might not be, you know, you don't have 20,000 followers. You might not be getting 1,000 likes on all your pictures and stuff, but doesn't mean you don't have a cool collection.
Yeah, and also it's tougher now when people are starting out because the algorithm is so rough.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Well, we all know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No comment.
Yeah. So I guess the big question I have is, so you and Scott definitely have a geographical difference between the two. How did you guys get connected? Was it just kind of randomly invited on that other podcast, or did you know each other before that? Like, what was that connection?
I kind of knew him just because I followed him because he was another Batman animated series guy, and I was like, okay, he has some cool pictures. I'll follow him. And then we got asked to do the podcast, and I knew that it was something he was really passionate about, was the figures specifically. He's not a big movie guy. He's very specific. Like, you ask him, you want to go out to the pub, he'll be like, no, I'd rather save it and spend it on a figure, mate. So he's very stringent. He loves figures. So and whenever we talked about it, you could tell he genuinely came alive, and I felt like we had a good energy together. So I asked him, and he said yes. And thankfully, it's worked out, and he doesn't get burned out on coming on late at night for him.
Right, that worked. So cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Nate, go ahead, because I lost track of my next question. I was like,
I think it's funny.
I got cut off.
It's funny.
Did you have a seizure?
Yeah.
Like, what was that, dude?
I have no idea. I was gonna ask a question, and then Nate said something, and I was like, Nate's gonna talk. Go ahead. And I was like, fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say.
I threw you off.
I thought you were having a stroke.
Yeah.
I might have. It was like a mini one. Like, is my face drooping? I think I'm okay.
Tyler's like, wait, hold on. Is this guy okay?
Like, I'm gonna die. It's all right. Yeah, no.
I just think it was funny what you were saying about Scott, because I mean, he is definitely devoted to the figs. I've never seen somebody so passionate, especially about the Arkham figs, because I've seen those from time to time, and you know, I have maybe one or two of them, but he collects those strictly, and he is going after like specific, like hard to find ones. He's got some real respect for that line.
Oh yeah, he's on the hunt right now for Comic-Con exclusives, for all the ones he missed way back in the day. I think he just got a piece that you recently just acquired, a diorama Grail, the TV with the Joker.
Yeah, I just actually found that on eBay recently. So I've been after that for a while because it comes with the Arkham Origins Collector's Edition. And I heard Scott had it in the episode too. And it's funny because we had probably found it around the same time. So that's random.
Is it really as big as he said? It's pretty big.
It's pretty big. It's awesome. It lights up. You know, the TVs light up in the back. You can remove. So like there's a Joker that comes on it. And it's kind of like just glued down, but you can take it off. I heated it up a little bit with a blow dryer, and it comes off pretty easy. And then there's a table in front of it that you can remove too. So it's pretty versatile because you could use it somebody standing behind the table, or you could put like a chair there and have the TVs behind it. I love those little diorama pieces. I'm always looking for something to add, you know, to the photography to kind of switch it up a little bit.
You're making me want to get it.
If you can, I mean, I was hunting eBay for a while, and I found a guy that had an auction. I just kind of came in the last minute and, you know, put a bid on there, so it worked out.
Nate did the good old sniping.
Yeah, these guys know I've got a serious, you know, addiction to the hobby, and I'm always looking for something to collect, whether it's a figure or a dial piece. So I've always got something new to add.
Hey, you know, you got to say that we're supportive because, I mean, Larry and I pushed you to buy that Shazam at the Comic-Con.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
I found it just randomly on the floor. A guy was selling it for a great price, and I had debated. I was like, I don't know if I should do it. I don't know if I should do it.
You guys you're great friends.
Right?
Yeah.
We're enablers, but that's okay. You needed it. It was a good price.
You know, I'm sure like you are, I question everything, you know, like, oh, should I buy this? Should I spend my money on this? But then I knew I would have regretted if I passed up because I initially missed the Shazam Mezco and I always regretted not getting him. So when I saw him on the floor, I just had to do it. And
I recently had that debate with the NECA 7-inch turtles.
Oh, those turtles are great.
Yeah, those are cool.
They're so awesome.
I didn't buy them though because I was just
Well, you know, even if you missed out on the initial release, I've heard NECA's going to restock. So if you end up changing your mind, I'm sure you'll be able to get them. And I don't think you'll regret it. I mean, were you into the turtles when you were younger?
I was, and I also saw that they did a bunch of turtle crossovers with Batman in the comics. So that makes for tons of photos already.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to end up pulling the trigger.
That's funny you say because Jeremy was like, dude, you got to do a Batman crossover. I've yet to do it. I need to do that. I need to take them back out.
Those were some of the best like modern comics were those crossovers that we had for Batman. So yeah, that's a necessity.
No, that's what I was gonna say. So that's a question I was gonna ask Tyler. I'm like, do you have like any type of like comic collection, or have you collected comics ever? Like, so just because you have some of those homage shots, and so it made me wonder, like, okay, this guy knows exactly what that cover looks like because I'm like, I know what that cover looks like.
Oh yeah, I definitely have a comic collection. It's not a bunch of single issues because I got introduced into comics later in the game. So I have basically a lot of graphic novels and a lot of pretty recent stuff. I have like a new first issues of Rebirth and Justice League Rebirth and that sort of thing. But as of the newest stuff within the last year, I'm not kind of, no.
Now, is there something like said like in regards to the actual like comic genre? Like I said, is there a favorite run that you have? Like so, for example, like one of my favorite runs, like I said, I know we keep on going back to that Batman 608, but that run of Hush, like I said, that was such a great storyline. Do you have like a favorite storyline or a favorite like run that you associate with?
That Jim Lee Hush is probably the one that got me back into really loving Batman when I was in high school. I don't know when it came out, but that's when I started reading it, the Hush story. So I really like that one. I love, of course, Dark Knight Returns. I love, The Killing Joke. I really enjoy Watchmen. That's one of my favorite comics of all time, even though it's a long one to get through. My favorite run, I don't know. I like a lot of one shots. Like some of my favorite modern comics are like Lee Bermejo's one shots of like the Joker and Noel, just because the artwork is so good, and it's also an Elseworld story, so they can be a little imaginative with some things. So I like those sort of comics. But in terms of run, the last one that I was really, really into, that was a long run, was the Capullo and Snyder Court of Owls and Endgame, because that's also around the time that I was down for the count with my back. So I had a lot of time to read that stuff, and that was pretty cool stuff as far as modern comic storylines.
Yeah, I love the New 52 stuff.
That was a great run. I said in terms of like modern collection, like I said, I'm a spotty in regards to that, and so I had to wait for like a good run to come out, and I'm like, okay, I want to read that, or hey, I want to read that. And Nate, speaking of that Hush run, you need to hang up those posters I gave you, just because, like I said, I think that would highlight your room too.
Yes, definitely.
You got some Hush posters?
Yeah, he got me the Superman and Batman kind of standing, face to face, sort of. So the posters kind of come together when you put them together. So yeah, I really need to put those up because I love the Hush storyline too.
So that matches up perfectly with the pick.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Nice. So with your inspiration, like in your toy photography, I know a lot of it is from Batman the Animated Series. It's kind of like your bread and butter. But do you typically will you go watch an episode and then you're like, okay, I'm going to try to do this from that? Because I know you'll do like an entire run through of every single episode, and you've probably done it a few times. So how do you keep getting those fresh ideas? Like, tell us a little bit about your process.
Ooh. Right now I'm currently in the 7th time going through all the episodes, and it's getting rough and to stay fresh, but right now I think I'm doing an okay job, and it's because the episodes are so good and there's so many iconic scenes jammed in each episode. And there's sometimes where you watch an episode like Almost Got 'Em, and it's only 22 minutes, but it feels like a cinematic movie. There's so much going on in it. It's jam packed with every villain. So there's episodes like that are filled to the gills with iconic imagery and stuff that you could get inspiration from. And then there's stuff like Tiger or The Terrible Trio, where it's like, ooh, there's not even figures of those people, and it's just an episode that you're not too fond of. But that's the time sometimes I really try to bear down and find the best part of that episode, try to get something good out of it. So, but I want to continually get better, and I want to make sure that I don't just stagnate and because otherwise, why do it? I don't want to get worse.
Right. No, I don't think, if anything, you've been getting better and better every single shot. I mean, the fact that you've gone through all 7 episodes, for me, creativity is probably one of the hardest things for toy photography. Trying to think of an idea for a shot. It's like, what am I going to do tonight? I want to try to keep it fresh, like you said. I don't want to stagnate and do all the same thing. So whether it's a new figure that's inspired me or something that I've seen, I'm always trying to keep it fresh. And I think you've done such a great job. You scroll down your page, nothing, there's so many different shots from so many different iconic either movies or episodes within the show or just stuff that you've made up on your own. I mean, it's amazing the level of creativity. One of my favorite ones that you did recently was the Almost Got 'Em, where they're around that table and you've got the Batman symbol down there and there's you got that smoke. I mean, did you use a vape pen or something to do the smoke, or what did you use there?
No, I used the atmospheric aerosol stuff.
Okay. I have not used that yet.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it took me a while to get used to how to light it or use light with it to get the rays. But with guests like JC Malone and Neronian, they give you little tips and hints. And that kind of thing. That's why I like the community too, because they continue the things that I thought I sucked at before. You just learn, and you have people that come alongside you and help you out. And it actually does help. You just get little tools in your belt. And
yeah, totally agree with that. And man, I'm just loving a lot of the work you're doing. I mean, like I said, you're one of the first accounts that I started following. You are one of the ones that inspired me to start my own account. So just keep it up, dude. You're killing it. I'm loving your stuff.
It's very, very kind of you. Very kind.
Well, I mean it, Tyler.
Show the love.
Yes.
So I guess go through what made you decide to kind of go through that process of recreating those scenes from the animated series. Where did that idea come from? Because that's kind of actually pretty cool.
Boredom. And I would see cool pictures on Instagram. And I'd be like, why doesn't this guy do more photos? I want to see more. Because I know this guy probably has a real life and a job, but I wish he would do more. And so I figured I'm just going to go ahead and do this every day. It'll give me something to do. I'm not going to be bored all day. I'm not going to run out of things to do. And yeah, it might suck, but hopefully I get better over time. And I figured people would say, I figured there'd be trolls, and there have been over time, but over time you also get a thick skin towards it, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's how I came up with that. And yeah, I really, really, really loved all the stuff too. And if you look at Batman animated series now, I feel like some of the episodes resonate even more now than when I was a child. There's an episode that I did recently called "It's Never Too Late," and it's about a mob boss who he doesn't even know where his son is, and then Batman has to show him it's because of you and you running drugs in this area, your son became addicted to drugs, and you're the reason your son's disappeared. And that's on a child's episode on Saturday morning cartoons at 9 a.m. So back then, I hated that episode because what? Who's this guy? This isn't the Joker. This isn't the Riddler. So I never cared about it. But now, watching it now, you're like, holy crap, this was on TV. So that kind of stuff. It's fun now looking back at it years later and thinking like, holy crap, like this is a whole different level of sophisticated than when you were a child.
Oh yeah, no, the animated series was the best at sneaking in those like adult situations, and I say adult humor too, because you know one of my favorite episodes is Harley asking Joker, "Don't you want to ride your Harley?" Yeah, so you know, like it was great, but yeah, it's things that you don't realize at the time, like you know, when you're a kid sitting there eating your cereal in front of the TV, that stuff was just like, okay, this is an okay episode, but then yeah, as an adult, you're like, oh wow, that was actually trying to teach me a life lesson, and it completely went whoosh when I was like 10 watching that.
For sure, yeah. So it was a lot of fun going back and doing it, and I still get a kick out of it now. So. Thankfully,
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it definitely had some adult themes, and it's one of those shows that you're never gonna see. Like they won't make kids shows like that again because it was just so dark in its nature, and it wasn't like it was, you know, inappropriate or anything. It just dealt with adult themes and stuff that, you know, like they just don't want to show kids nowadays. It seems it's too bad because, like you said, as an adult, I have so much more appreciation for that show just based on some of the themes that it focuses on. You know, how to be a better person and how to like look at somebody, you know, don't judge a book by its cover, and just all these adult themes that you learn through that show. And you also learn just about, you know, who Batman is as a person. And it's not just fighting people. It's all about this understanding people and what drives them to do certain things.
Yeah, for sure. Like in the first episode of On Leather Wings, after he gets Kurt Langstrom, he doesn't take him to Arkham. He takes him back to his wife and says, hey, I took care of him, made a mistake. Hopefully he doesn't do this again, but I'm watching him. And that's it. That's really cool.
Right. So you could just punish him and, you know, shoot him or something, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, you know, the DCEU version of Batman really needs to go back and watch the Batman animated series to actually figure out how to be Batman.
Yes, very much so. If that was Ben Affleck, he would have just shot him from a plane and called it a night.
Yeah, he would have drug him behind the Batmobile. Like, oh, you didn't kill anybody there. No, those folks are dead. Like,
just dropped a building on them or something. You know?
Just pull the KGB, set him on fire. It's fine. Like, I just burned him to death.
No, you talk about, like I said, some of these episodes, like I said, in regards to the Arkham episode, like honestly, like Feet of Clay, I said that almost brought a tear to my eye. I said those are my favorite episodes, just because, like I said, it's not only just like I said the theme of the episode, it's just the music that goes with it. It's like it's powerful. Like I said, I literally can watch Feet of Clay Part 1, Part 2 like over and over and over and over again, just because I said I just identify with those episodes so much.
You're speaking my language right now. That's my favorite episode too.
We'll go through like Jeremy. You bring up the music, but honestly, can anyone name a more iconic opening, like theme song, that to this day you can still like? If you hear, you're like, that's the Batman animated series opening like theme. Like outside of like the other, you know, like run of the mill like 90s cartoons, that's the one that like most people that don't watch, say, you know, Rocko's Modern Life or whatever, are still going to be able to pick it up. Like that's Batman. Like that score was epic. And like
I love Rocko's Modern Life though too.
Yeah. Right. Oh, come on, look at me. Look at me. I know all them theme songs. But like it's one of those things where like it was the first cartoon to me to have that full orchestral score and everything that was in it, that you actually were like, oh, like shit just got real, because like that theme song is setting you up for this awesome show that's set to come.
Yeah, and I think outside of nowadays with Family Guy, it was the last show to have a full orchestra. Like each time, I know in the new Batman Adventures, we had Kwame on, and he said that that's not a full orchestra. There's parts they digitized and stuff, and I wouldn't have known that. So he said, yeah, the last full orchestra outside of Family Guy, funnily enough, is Batman the Animated Series.
Well, you know, I mean, Seth MacFarlane has the hard on for orchestral scores, so that doesn't surprise me. But
yeah, that's funny.
So I have a hard on for podcasts.
Yeah.
Can we save that clip too?
I was gonna say that one's going in the bank.
That one is
Wow, that's a good one.
That's called a forced transition.
No, that is something special. That is just something special, Larry. That's
Set it up, and I just took it. So, I don't know. Like, let's jump back to the podcast real quick. So you record the DC Figures and Collectibles podcast on Anchor. What can you tell me about Anchor? Like, I've heard about it a little bit. I actually have the app downloaded on my phone because somebody else, our friend Clint Crockett, used it to record his podcast for a little while. Like, what is Anchor, and how exactly does that work?
I think Anchor is perfect thing for a person that has no idea what they're doing electronically or trying to do a podcast, but they want to do a podcast, because you just download it. You literally just hit record and start, and they help you with the rest. It's pretty easy to edit, and you don't need a bunch of software. You don't need to buy a huge computer. You can do it all from your phone. And they disperse it to 11 different platforms, including Google Play, iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you can base it. I think it's 11 in total, and it's all the biggest podcast platforms. So they take care of that for you. And so after you're done doing the editing and you publish it, you really don't have to do anything.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, right? Because I think people think podcasting's hard. It's generally not, but I think Anchor makes it even easier.
For sure.
And we lost Tyler.
Looks like
we lost our guest. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
My guess is he probably dropped his phone and
whoops.
And podcasting is kind of hard, apparently.
Right? If you had used Anchor, this wouldn't have happened.
That was an awesome transition. Let me re-invite our guest Tyler. Talk amongst yourselves for a second while I get our lovely guest back.
So, if you enjoy collecting Funko Pops, you should head over to shumistore.com, because you can buy all the awesome Funko Pops that just came out this week, including that Bulbasaur who's up for pre-order. You can enter code STS Guys. You can save 10%. And you know what, Shumi? He's going to give you that mint box guarantee, so you know your Bulbasaur or your other Pops are not going to get damaged. So again, shumistore.com, enter code STS Guys to save 10%.
Who doesn't like saving money?
Larry, I was gonna call you out if you didn't say your 10.
I did. I think I always do it the second time. I've never really paid attention. I don't know. I feel like I do it the second time
because I literally was expecting it. I'm like, you know what? That's part of your shtick now.
I know. I saw you were doing the jazz hands.
All of us were getting the hands ready. We're like, we're gonna do it with him.
I'm like the jazz hands of saving 10%.
Larry's so good at just shtick. He gets us all to play along with him. 10%.
That's how you know you're good at shilling.
It's like when a commercial comes on and you start singing the tune before it even happens. You're like, that's what Larry does.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's the anticipation of the good
exactly.
part.
He's going to say 10%. He's going to say 10%.
That's like when you ever hear the Stanley Steamer commercial and you just find yourself being like, Stanley Steamer makes carpets cleaner. And you're like, God damn it. But you're like, oh, wow. If I ever need my carpets cleaned, I know exactly who I'm going to reach out to.
Honestly, ever since moving, you know what jingle I miss? I don't know, we're going off on a side tangent now. Is that Sonny Plumber jingle that used to be on the radio?
Yeah,
because I don't get it here. I guess I've yet to hear the one thing that's in the Texas the fun jingle that I said it stuck in my head.
It takes a minute, though. Yeah, but it takes a minute, right? It's got to develop that natural charm, and it's got to work its way into your head.
No, because I can tell you right now, if I started it, every single one of us could actually respawn or recite the Shanko.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. Somehow I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah. Every one of us, we all know the address of Shanko because of those damn local ads. I don't know how we got onto local ads from the point of our guest dropping off, but I like where this is going. So let's.
And Tyler's trying to get back, so hopefully he'll be able to rejoin us here soon.
He'll get back. Jeremy, feel free to edit this part out.
Hey, we're live. We're not
Sorry, live folks.
Speaking of local ads. Oh, Tyler's
back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tyler is
So
back.
Anchor is a great app.
Yeah.
Well, you missed the part where I said, like, if we were recording this Anchor, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I was like, because podcasting isn't hard, and it just cut out. I was like, and apparently podcasting is hard.
Apparently, we should be using Anchor.
I think Larry made the podcasting gods angry by saying he has a hard on for podcasts.
Yeah, and they're like, no
That's
naughty
too sexual.
language. Yeah.
That's great.
But yeah, so if you're thinking about starting your own podcast, Anchor. Like, you can check it out. Tyler approved, super easy. You get good quality too, which is awesome. So I think that's important because I think a lot of people listen to podcasts. Those are like the future podcasters, right? That's how we all listen to a bunch of podcasts and stuff. And that's how we decided, hey, I want to do that too. So if you're out there and listening in audio land right now, like, Anchor might be the way for you. Super easy.
Yeah, and it seems like, I mean, I know you posted the idea. You're like, hey, I'm starting this new podcast. And then all of a sudden you start it up and you're all the way up to episode 15. So it sounds like it's working good for you, Anchor.
Oh, yeah. And I think what Larry said, or he said that the quality sounds good. And they take care of that for you, too. You don't need however expensive mic you want to buy. That's pretty impressive. I mean, getting another mic adds to the quality, but if you don't have the money, it's pretty good quality.
That's awesome.
Right? Or if you don't want to commit to spending that money, and so you're rolling, and you're right, and you're on episode 15, and you're like, all right, like, this is fun. I'm committed, right? Then you can start spending some money.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, kind of continuing the theme with podcasts, Tyler. I said, do you have like some podcasts that you listen to regularly? Like I said, I know we all have like our own like individual podcasts that we listen to, like kind of on a religious basis. What are those for you?
Okay, so I have to say, right now, the podcast I listen to the most is You Guys because it's on Saturday.
Yes.
Dead serious. But the one that I was listening to, but then it was just beginning to be too much of him ranting alone, is Bill Burr, the Monday Morning Podcast. But then it got to it's like ranting. So
yeah, it's very hit or miss. I've listened to it a little bit and I was like, I don't think I can handle this anymore.
Yeah, not for that long, at least. But yeah, after I heard a couple of those, I mean, I've listened to Kevin Smith. I've listened to a bunch of different ones, especially in preparation of trying to see what this is like and how to do it. But yeah, I like stuff like this more than someone that sounds too produced or too safe. Like, it's just fun to be with guys that feel like they're sincerely friends and they're just hanging out. That's the kind of podcast I like.
Yeah, you said the magic words. Like I said, you said Kevin Smith. Like I said, and I said all the guys know here. Like I said, I am probably like one of the hugest Kevin Smith fans in the entire world. Like
you say Kevin Smith. Now Jeremy has a hard on.
Absolutely. Because I said I listen to Smodcast all the time. Like I said, all the different shows on there. But like I said, probably Tell 'em Steve Dave. Like I said, it's. There's no, like I said, it typically, I said when I used to live in Arizona, when we used to go out for lunch, like I said, when we went in the car, it's either our podcast is playing, so I'm checking the sound quality, or it's Tell 'em Steve Dave. So it's awesome that you said that you're a fan of Kevin Smith there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I love especially when he gets backstage access and just hearing how excited he is for certain things. You can tell he's a genuine fan always.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, my Jimmy rig just busted there, so.
Hey, man, you're going through it just fine. Don't worry.
It's all right.
Coming through it virtually.
Yeah. So I want to give you a chance to kind of like, I know you use Anchor as well, but what are some of the other companies that you are sort of partners with? Like, please plug whatever it is that you're a part of.
Okay, so company-wise that I work with that they will be kind enough to usually send samples and let me take pictures to do reviews on, also talk about on the podcast. A big partner that sends a lot is Beast Kingdom, and they're a company in China. They're relatively new. They've been around since 2009, and they make pretty spectacular figures, especially in terms of likeness and quality, and they make them pretty cheap. There's some figures that look worse than them that are charged over $100, and they charge about $50. So it's a good buy, especially for someone that wants good quality but doesn't want to, break the bank necessarily. And then another company that is really brand new, and they're trying to compete with Mezco in the terms of the soft goods action figure line, very highly detailed and more high price ranges. Soap Studios, and they're also out of China. And their first couple of figures were hit or miss, and then they had one set that was falling apart when you opened it, and that was the Bruce Wayne and Ra's al Ghul 2-pack. And then recently, their Reverse Flash has been killer. I would put that next to any Mezco figure and say it would blend in. So that's another company that sends figures. And then Big Bad Toy Store, they from time to time will be kind enough to do the same, and it's fun to work with them. And I genuinely like them because if you try to get a DC Multiverse figure at a store, you're pretty much out of luck nowadays. So if you're a DC Multiverse figure collector, they always have it, and so that's where I go for that.
Yeah,
well.
I just searched Soap Studios. I really hadn't heard of them before, but just they have a really cool like WB Barry Allen, Grant Gustin Flash.
Yeah.
I was actually it's pretty cool. I was actually just like 2 days ago. I was looking up the DC Multiverse Flash. Actually, after listening to your podcast where you had the Mattel designer on, like I was searching up Multiverse figures. And I saw that one. I'm like, I kind of want to buy that Flash, but like it was really expensive on eBay and stuff. The Soap Studios one looks better too, so I'm definitely going to check that out.
He definitely is better.
So I Google searched as well, and I love how you went to that, and I went to the fact that they have the figure of the Nurse Joker.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too, man.
That Nurse Joker. I know you've been talking about that a lot, Tyler, you and Scott, but I really hope that comes through.
Yeah, that's one's up in the air because I believe Mattel wanted to make that a few years back where everything was brand new, and it was at a request of his family that they didn't make it. So the fact that they're teasing this, it's not even been confirmed if it's all the way going to get the get-go, because they showed Two-Face in San Diego Comic-Cons, and a couple of weeks ago when I was letting them know about guests that were coming on and if they wanted any press releases, they said that they're just getting approval from DC on their Two-Face. So they still haven't necessarily got approval on some of the figures that they're showing. So we'll see if it comes through.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Yeah, but like you said, with the Reverse Flash, I didn't really know a whole lot about Soap Studio. I've kind of seen them come up because, I'm a Mezco collector. So I'm like, okay, if there's another line that is comparable to that, I'm all in it. But that Reverse Flash, your pictures of it really make me consider buying that figure because it looks awesome. It looks really good.
I think it would fit in well with comic book characters as well. It has more of a generic look. Mm-hmm. If you don't watch the show, of course.
Oh, no. Yeah, I watched the show. I mean, Mezco did the Zoom figure, which is, technically Reverse Flash too. But I always wished it was just a little bit more detailed. And it looks like the Soap one goes that extra step on the suit and, providing the extra head sculpts. And it just looks really good. So I'm excited for the future of that line.
Yeah, and I'm a sucker for accessories. So if you put a lot of accessories in there, I'm all in.
Definitely. For sure. Oh, that's cool. And the Beast Kingdom figures, I know you've been promoting a lot. I've seen the pictures of them. I haven't yet to check those out, but I think at some point I'm going to have to grab one just because you say such good things about them.
Yeah, and they also reached out to and gave samples to Joe Malone and a couple other people in the toy community. So they're really trying to get their name out there. And I think they're worth it. I would say that they're on par with Mayfax and Figure Arts right now, but half the price.
Yeah.
The only thing that sucks is people don't like the scale.
Because they're a little bit taller, right? They're like, 7-8 inches?
8 to 9 sometimes.
So they're taller than a NECA, maybe a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you could fudge it with scale and certain articulation poses and stuff.
Yeah, and if you get the whole team, it doesn't really matter because that's all you're going to use is those figures,
It's all about the force perspective, baby.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. There's the movie magic.
Yeah. Got to do that sometimes when you want to use two figures. You're like, these don't really match up. Let me just see if I can make this one a little bit farther and this one a little bit closer,
Oh, yeah.
That's
you know all the secrets. You definitely know the secrets.
Yeah. You have to, those things you learn over time.
I'm going to put this guy on a box and we're going to push him forward a little bit.
So that brings up, like I said, kind of a good segue. So what are some of the tips and tricks that you could provide someone to get started in toy photography? Like I said, I've asked Nate these questions before too. Like I said, and everyone kind of has their own perspective and their own things that they do. Because honestly, Nate kind of inspired me to kind of start taking a couple different toy photos. And so they're like shitty for right now, but like I said, I'm hoping to get better eventually. But it'll. What are your tips and tricks that you have?
You guys are doing perfect questions because we actually talked about this, like just staying creative today on the podcast. And I put down a lot of what I try to do to stay creative and also what I got into it as, first of all, you got to just do it. Just do it because it's not going to be the best when you start. It's never going to be exactly how you want when you start, but you just got to do it and get over that and get over the fear of putting yourself out there, I think. And like I spoke about a little earlier, you'll see it. People are going to support you and enjoy what you do, and they'll encourage you. They'll try to work with you to get better, give you hints and tips. So I think the major thing is just doing it, and also keep it simple. Make sure you have good lighting, have a simple background. Like when I started, everything was just a red background, and I would just make sure it looked okay and took the picture. And then from there, once you start learning and talking to people, you could expand. But yeah, the main thing is just do it, because a lot of people, they have talent and they have gifts and they're just afraid to take that leap. And they'll be like, well, I'm reading a book and it says you have to get your why first before you start doing this. And it's like, just do it. Just go out and do it and learn, put your hands on it. I know some people want like to, do the reading, or they learn differently. But I think for me, and if you tend to be creative and you like being creative, you just got to do it.
I totally agree with that. I've learned so much just from, like you said, just taking some shots and seeing what works and what doesn't. And you learn over time, hey, maybe I should try this instead. Lighting for me is always a big thing. Having proper lighting. It took me a long time to kind of learn, okay, having more lights is good, because I always thought it was going to drown out the shot, but you don't point them directly at it. You kind of just surround it with it. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. Just get out there and do it, because for me, it was like it was sort of like a dirty little secret at first. It's like I had this toy account. I didn't have my name attached to it. Nobody really knew that it was me doing it. I slowly started telling my friends about it. But the more I opened up with it, the more I started receiving back, because it's like people supporting me. And then, the ability to be able to ask questions to somebody that I really look up to, like, hey, man, I love your work. How do you do it? I want to get my shots looking like yours. Like, what do I need to do differently? And the community is just so supportive that way. I love that.
That's funny you say that, because I didn't tell my mom or dad until I got a couple thousand followers. And even then it was like, I always equate it to like, I can only imagine like, this is probably how it would be like to come out of the closet. I couldn't, I was like thinking my dad would disown me. Like, you're still playing with toys.
Yeah. Mom, dad. Yeah. I take pictures of action figures.
And I take photographic evidence and I prove it by posting it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, your page is just blown up. What do you got? 23,000 followers now? That's crazy, man.
It is crazy, and I try not to think about it, because I don't feel like, I just feel like I'm a guy with a lot of time on his hand, and I have a passion and I like doing something, and out of it, people have enjoyed it, and I'm thankful for that. But like, I want people to know I'm learning still. I haven't figured everything out yet. So if you see something, you could give me a hint, give me some tips. So yeah, I'm always willing to learn as well. And if you guys start collecting, like if you collect pops, we might have to have you on the show.
Sweet.
There you go. Yeah.
me and Jeremy, we're a tag team.
Yeah,
we haven't had pop collectors on yet. We try to get every kind of collector.
Well,
they are pop aficionados, man. Yeah. I've never met two guys that know more about pops than these two.
Larry's brushing off his shoulder.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to modestly. I love Funko, man. Like all of this company, the company and community as much, if not more, than the actual products. So,
I even respect the fact that you take pictures of them. Most of the time, I just see people post like a wall of it. And it's like, okay, that's cool. But the fact that you take out pictures and get creative with them, that is cool.
Yeah, I try. Like you're right. Like one of the first things that lured me to Pops was the fact that I could stack up the boxes all together and make like a cool wall. Like that was one of the things that I thought was cool. But since then, like I've come to realize it's okay to take them out of the box, because you can always put them right back in. So
yeah, Larry is legitimately the first like pop collector that I'll watch, get one, and he'll just break open the box, just pulling up, like, like I like that thing, and put it back. I'm like, what did you do?
Does that freak other people out, the pop collectors?
Yeah, a little bit, right? Like there's some tricks to opening the boxes the right way and stuff. So I've got it down where I won't damage them. But yeah, like you gotta be careful. Some people do freak out, like when they're like buying stuff from you. Like, dude, box condition and all that. Like it's a total thing. Everyone's so like anal about it and stuff. But whatever.
That's another kind of collector I want on. I want someone that collects just in box. Because I just want to see, like, do you live out your fantasies with people that post on Instagram? Because I would go nuts if I just. So that I think that takes a lot of mental fortitude to keep it in box.
It's funny you said that because one time Larry posted a video of him opening up what I thought was a somewhat rare pop. And I'm like, you just open that thing up like without hesitation. I'm surprised because for me, like I was probably a collector first and then I went into toy photography later. So I'm always debating between should I keep this in box or should I open it? And lately I've been going to opening it. But yeah, there's just that inner turmoil inside of me. And so I know Larry, he's a big collector of pops, so it was surprising just to see him open it. But I guess, with pops, kind of like Mezcos, you can open them up, put them back. Nobody really cares too much.
Honestly, why buy a toy if you can't play with it?
True.
Like that's the question.
Like I'm pretty sure most of us, maybe not Scott, like bought action figures at some point and kept them in the box, right? Nate's got those Batman figures on his shelf. Like I did it. It's been an adjustment, but like I was in box all the way. Or on card. Nothing
I bought as a child stayed in the box for long. Like it was opened and it was played with, and it has been passed down to my daughter for her to play with. Like
nice.
I have so many of those Ninja Turtle toys that are like ridiculously expensive now, like the Changer, the Mutagen ones. I had the entire line of that. My daughter still plays with this day, and I see how much they're worth and went, son of a bitch, I should have kept those in the box.
Well, I was gonna say, Larry's a way braver soul than I am because I still can't take mine out of the box, and like it drives me nuts. So I can't physically do it, even though it's easy to do it. And so for example, I always think back to one of Larry's photos specifically. So there's one Funko Pop that you can only get from following the Funko community on social media. It's this little social media Freddy. And Larry has this awesome shot of that social media Freddy in a coffee shop. And I remember him telling me the story of he went to actually go to the counter to get his coffee and left it on the table. And that's like a $250 figure.
Yeah. And after that, I needed to stop at the store, and I didn't want to leave it in my car, so I just went home and then went back to the store. I was a little freaked out to get home, man, because it's like Jeremy said, you can only get it if they give it to you. It's not really replaceable, man. I freaked out a little bit.
I don't blame you. It's like leaving a Mezco on the counter of a Starbucks or something.
Same, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That would freak me out.
You just left your Batman Beyond figure on the counter?
Yeah, I would be running back in there like crazy, man. So where's it at?
Yeah.
Where is it?
I do have a question for you here, Tyler. As we're coming onto the hour point, we joked a little bit about the DCEU, right? Yeah. And I know you're definitely a Batman fan. Yeah. So we're going to give you your kind of what if question. You have free reign here. Obviously, Ben Affleck is out as Batman for the Batman.
Yeah.
Who is your pick for replacement Batman?
Man,
it's a tough
I could go with the fan favorite that everyone wants and just say John Hamm, but I'd be lying if I really wanted that. I really want an unknown, to be honest. I want a young unknown or someone that we could grow with and actually just disappears into the role of Batman. And someone I know Scott says he would love it if we had someone that was on the level of Robert Downey Jr., where you play it 10 years, could leave a legacy. And also I'd love anyone that actually just wants to play it instead of someone that gets annoyed when they ask, hey, how's the Batman movie coming on? And you just get mad and yell at reporters.
You freak out at somebody.
Yeah, it's sorry, like only a few people in this world will ever get to be Batman. It's like, sorry that people actually care about Batman other than your personal movie, Ben. All right, but
no, you know what I want. You know what I want. Like what I've wanted for years. Like I said, and I literally want the Michael Keaton as the old Bruce Wayne, and I want the Batman. I want the Batman Beyond movie.
I want a Terry McGinnis. I want a Terry McGinnis.
Give me a no-name actor as a Terry McGinnis, and give me Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne, old Batman. Give me that movie now.
How does the studio not
change
know?
His,
yeah, like, I mean, I'm just surprised we have not gotten that yet because everybody has been asking for that for so long. Like he would be the perfect old man Bruce Wayne. Giving the reins to a younger Terry McGinnis.
Well, and here's my problem with going with John Hamm, like everyone wants, is he's roughly the same age as Ben Affleck. So you're just, if you're trying to make it like more of a prequel-y type of movie, which it seems like it's more of him versus an entire rogues gallery, you'd want a younger person playing that character so that you could keep that going. John Hamm does not have a whole lot of Batman years in him, I don't think.
You need a Tom Holland type who can play Batman for, like Tyler said, for like 10 years. Like you need that where they're young enough and kind of unknown, right? Like sure, Tom Holland was in some other stuff, but I didn't know who he was till Spider-Man. You need that for Batman.
My vote goes for Zac Efron. I want Zac Efron Batman.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, please.
Is it going to be a musical? Because then it will be good.
You know what? Batman's got to have some chops, man. Right. He's got everything else. He excels in everything else. He can sing and dance. He can.
Yeah, you got to bring back the Bat Tootsie from like Adam West, Batman 66.
Oh boy,
Zac Efron can do that.
Batman can sing and dance. Like he's got everything else down. He can sing and dance.
He's the Hugh Jackman of the superheroes.
That's right.
Do it all.
Exactly.
Broadway.
You drop Bruce Wayne in a Broadway play, and he'll belt out a tune like that.
I agree, though. I would love to get somebody in the role that stays there for long term because we've had a lot of different Batmans over the years, and Ben Affleck, unfortunately, was just too short lived. I thought he was one of the best on-screen Batmans as far as his overall look.
So only Christian Bale. Yeah, only Christian Bale and Michael Keaton played him more than once, right? It's like George Clooney was one and done. Val Kilmer was one and done.
Yeah,
I guess Ben Affleck got two, right, with Batman versus Superman and Justice League. But yeah, like it's like you said, it's too many Batman.
Yeah, and I mean they could really give us a lot too if they focus on. They don't have to give us an origin story. Like we already know the origin story. Give us like a 0-year movie to start off a new career of a new Batman. Like show us him at his weakest, when he doesn't really know what he's doing. That's kind of what I want to see. I just want to see him evolve into a different character.
Or if you want to do it, just have we lost our guest again.
Oh no.
I was gonna say if you want to just have a character come on and play Nightwing after Batman gets his back broken, taking over the mantle of Batman for a time frame. I mean you can still have your grizzled old Batman, but have a learning Batman at the same time.
Wasn't there supposed to be a Nightwing movie? Wasn't that one of the many DC movies that's supposedly on the table?
Who knows what DC was actually thinking at the time? I think they were just spitballing. I think it was one guy going like, yeah, and we're going to have a Nightwing movie, and then we're going to do a new Swamp Thing, and then we're going to have Poison Ivy's going to get her own movie this time. Yeah! But I don't think they actually had any sort of plan really laid out.
Well, I mean, Nolan universe kind of hinted at it the very last scene, in Dark Knight Rises. It wasn't like Nightwing, but it was Robin. And he goes into the Batcave.
Yeah, they showed that to the guy that's never been named anything, that his real first name is Robin. Not like his name is, Tim Drake. It's Robin.
True. I mean, why do you have to be so literal?
And first off, if you think about that, that means that dude's running around using his actual goddamn name. Like,
it's ballsy, man.
Call me Robin.
Yeah.
Is that your name?
Are you the superhero Robin? Yeah. Like,
because I only know about three guys named Robin, and so I'm pretty sure I can guess who you are. Like, is that your real name? No. Like, are you kidding?
Well, I mean, they could have just gave us like, hey, his name's Tim Drake. or something like that. Hey, Tyler.
Tyler's back. Hello.
I don't know what's going on.
Don't worry.
It's all right,
It's
man.
all good. So I know we're getting to the end here, and I do want to, it's the question you ask all your guests. I have to ask it, even though I'm going to ignore that you kind of did an episode already where you focused on this. What are your top 3 episodes of Batman the Animated Series, Tyler?
Okay. My number 3 is Tiger Tiger. And that's kind of an odd one that a lot of people don't even know exists. But I kind of like it because if you look at Batman, how he started in the old comics, it would be like in a shadowy, like isolated castle on an island fighting a mad scientist. So that's kind of what that vibe gives off in the animated series, where he's turning people into like animals and stuff like that. It's a bad guy.
It's like a Dr. Moreau thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not what you initially think of. Like you said, it's probably not as well known, but it is actually a really great episode.
Oh, yeah.
The themes that it focuses on.
And in terms of pulling at your heartstrings, it gets you at the end a little bit. So, and then second one, and this is one that I would put right up there with my first, and basically a tie. I could watch it at any time, and it is Perchance to Dream. And that is a Mad Hatter episode. And the reason I really, really love it is because the episode starts off and you have no idea what's going on. And all of a sudden, Batman's parents are alive and he's married to Selena Kyle. And there's another Batman taking care of everything, so he has no stress. And there comes a point where he seems to accept it. And he's like, okay, this is exactly the life I wanted. And I'm happy. And for a brief moment, you see Bruce Wayne in a state of happiness. And it's kind of weird, but you're kind of like, oh, that's good for him. But then it quickly becomes shattered and he realizes he's in a dream. And it's like a Twilight episode at the end. It's so well done. But then I'd have to say my number 1 is Feet of Clay Part 1 and 2. And that's just because I know that Heart of Ice tends to be the favorite because people say, oh, you can relate to the character and stuff. But as a child, I couldn't relate to losing a wife or a loved one like that. So I felt really bad that he got something taken away physically from him. I was like, oh, man, that sucks. Like, he didn't want this. And then to try to heal himself, he did some stuff that maybe was questionable, but it drove him even more insane and ultimately became who he was. And so I like those kind of episodes that show shine a light on the motivation behind the villain. And you kind of see that it's not always so black and white. There are some gray shades, if you will.
Yeah. Really great picks. And I think when I was on, I told you Feet of Clay was one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that the show did so well is it highlighted the rogues gallery. I learned so much about the Batman villains because everybody knows Joker. You know, who doesn't know that Batman and Joker go together? But as I watched that show, I got more and more appreciation for the Riddler and who Clayface was. And even Man-Bat. Man-Bat's not one of those characters that you think about like, oh, Man-Bat. But that first episode on Leather Wings, you're like, holy crap, Man-Bat's a pretty cool character. He's got an awesome story. So that's one thing I loved about that show is it really just let you understand these characters and how Batman relates with them, you know, how they fit into this world. It really built this immersive experience.
Yeah.
Great picks.
Thank you. Yours is not too bad either. I like that there's a lot of Feet of Clay picks on here.
Yeah, Feet of Clay, Heart of Ice, definitely one of my favorites. I love that. Yeah, Rogues Gallery stuff.
And then I would say, because New Batman Adventures didn't get a lot of love, but so I'll throw in some classics from there that get overlooked. There's Over the Edge. That's another dream one.
That's one of Scott's favorites, right?
Yeah. And there's Old Wounds, where you learn about Robin becoming Nightwing. And yeah, there's a couple other gems in there, like Legends of the Dark Knight, where they show Frank Miller's Batman in animated form.
Oh, that was so cool.
Yeah,
seeing that.
Pay homage to all the old classic Batmans. So
yeah, for sure.
There's a couple of New Batman Adventures that don't get enough love.
Yeah, I think people, you know, they saw New Batman Adventures, they're like, oh, this isn't going to be the same, but it ended up being a really great show.
Yeah,
you know,
pretty
it was different, but it had some great episodes.
Minus the Joker's red lips, but yeah, I was gonna say the treatment that show gave the Joker was a little weird, but outside of that, it was actually pretty good.
Some of the design changes were a little bit weird, I gotta say, but you know, Joker being one of them. I didn't really like how they changed Poison Ivy. They gave Nightwing a mohawk, you know, It's just a little different. But
Did you hear the story behind that redesigned look in Poison Ivy?
I did not know. No.
This was something that Scott told me, and I never knew. And it is in the comics where they continue the Batman Adventure stories. After Poison Ivy's last episode, it's called Family or Home and Garden, where she has a fake family and they turn out to be plants, and she gets away in the end because she made a clone of herself. Well, in the comics, she left for good, and she just set up a clone, and that's why the one that is in the new Batman Adventures is green looking, and like she just doesn't look as human. So that's actually canon in the comics. So when you see her later on in New Batman Adventures, all the way in Justice League, and even to the Harley Quinn and Batman movie, that's a clone.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, he blew my mind with that.
Yeah, this gave me a whole new appreciation for that now.
Good little tidbits, dropping some knowledge.
Yeah, I have to thank Scott for that one. But yeah, that was something. You always learn something, even though you're getting older, I guess.
Yeah, it makes me want to rewatch the show. You know, I haven't seen it in a while, so I'd love to rewatch all the episodes again.
Do it.
Be careful. Be careful. You might want to buy all the figures as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I go to
That's how
your
it
page and I
works.
can live through you. You have all those.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all the new ones coming out this year too.
And those are animated, right?
Yeah, they're finally doing Scarecrow with the red shirt, that version. Two-Face, Gray Ghost, finally. And then Batman with a bat cycle, I believe. And a Hardak, the Cyber Batman.
Oh,
Nice. That is awesome.
So
You got all the Justice League figures from being a part of the DC club, right? DC Collectibles Club.
the DC Universe app. You just have to pay $7 and join.
Okay.
So I did that, bought the figures and bounced.
As you should.
Right.
Yeah.
Subscribe for a month, get what I need. I'll see you later.
Yeah, watched all the Teen Titans and got out of it.
Nice. I still need to watch that.
It's pretty good, I have to say.
Yeah, I was listening to you and Scott talk about it, and it makes me excited to watch it.
They definitely rip off a lot of Batman animated series parts. But
Well, I'm sure you love that, though.
Oh, yeah, at least they rip off from good material.
Yeah, talk about Easter eggs. You're like, I know all this.
You,
I just did that episode.
I know this exact storyline.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
cool.
They even
Well, you
used the Batman. The Batmobile looks like the animated version too. A little
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, you get to see it briefly, right? It's not in there a lot, but you get to see it.
bit. Yeah, I can't believe they made it just for that shot. But oh well.
Must be one of those things where they just had enough just for that. They're like, okay, we're going to tease it, and then we'll give you more next season once we get refunded again.
Now,
Yeah,
honestly, what they probably did is they found some diehard fan who rebuilt it and was like, hey, can we borrow your car for like 10 minutes?
We'll give you credit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. You guys have any more questions for Tyler while we got him?
No, I just want to say thank you for coming on, Tyler. I said we definitely appreciate it. Like I said, definitely, if you just want to real quick plug your podcast one more time, just so that way our audience can then definitely check out your show, kind of let us know your cadence for your episodes coming out, and maybe give us a little taste of the future.
But well, first of all, I really appreciate you guys having me on. It's a lot of fun. I really was looking forward to this, and yeah, this was even better than I thought, despite having a couple of dropouts on my phone. But yeah, my podcast is called DC Figures and Collectibles, and I do it with Scott of @the.batfan from London, and we literally talk about all things collectibles, figures, dioramas, custom jobs. We don't even just do figures. We have people that collect anything. So if you're a collector and you want to talk about it, we want to hear about it. And we also like hearing about people's stories, hearing about what got them into collecting, maybe how it was therapeutic in a tough time, stuff like that. So you can also check out our Instagram pages. Mine is batmanfigs. And again, his is @the.batfan. And we have daily posts of toy photography. And yeah, I definitely check it out if you enjoy that stuff.
Yeah, you guys owe it to yourself. Please go check them out. Really great content. I love the podcast every single week. And Tyler, thanks again for coming, man. Like I said, I've always been a big fan. I'm glad that we're becoming, closer and getting to know each other. I can't wait to see you at SDCC. I'm really, really looking forward to that. We're going to have to do something big while you're there.
I hope I see all you guys soon. That'd be a blast.
Have you been to San Diego Comic-Con before?
No, this will be my first time going to any big con. I've been to a Star Wars celebration, but I've never been to a con.
Yeah.
So did you get invited? Did you say you got invited by Beast Kingdom to go?
Yeah, they asked because it's going to be their 10-year anniversary, and it's also their first time at San Diego Comic-Con. So they wanted to know if we go there and help do podcasts and do some coverage.
That is so awesome.
It's pretty
So
cool,
we definitely have to have you guys drop by.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll definitely plug you guys shamelessly.
Well, thank you.
We certainly appreciate that, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, hopefully. Like Nate will be there for sure. The rest of us are in limbo, but hopefully we can figure it out, man.
Yeah, Nate was the only one that got tickets. We're waiting for hope that we might be able to get in another way.
We're waiting for a miracle or for Funko Fun Days tickets, and then
exactly.
Then I'm in. So,
Yeah,
I'm hoping. I'll have my fingers crossed.
thanks, man.
That would be a lot of fun.
definitely.
I really would want to.
You're
And
picking a
Scott
good
will be
year.
there, so-
I was going to say
coming.
Scott's coming all the way down to make it, right?
Yeah, he's coming for 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
Wow. It's
Yeah,
an epic trip, man.
yeah.
Is
He
it
Just
wants
to hang out
toy
in Southern California for 2 weeks is awesome.
Yes.
And the only thing he wants to do is go toy hunting.
Right? Yeah.
Well, he always talks about how hard it is to get those toys where he lives. You know, he's always paying import costs and the extra in taxes. I'm sure he's going to go ham. He's probably bringing an entire suitcase just for toys.
Well, this is no better place than San Diego, man. Around Comic-Con, like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's
Or drive up to LA.
Oh, we
Yeah.
will.
Yeah, right. I mean, especially he's coming all that way. You gotta go up to LA. You gotta go to Frankenstein's and stuff, right? Like, he's gonna find so much.
Yes, especially because I missed going today. I was supposed to go to Frankenstein's, but I had car trouble. So
That
that would have been my first time going there.
Yeah, we missed it too.
Yeah,
We've never been. We tried to go when we were in Anaheim, in November, and it didn't work out. So that's on at least me, Jeremy, and Nate's bucket list of things. We're all like, we got to do this. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
For sure. There's so many people in the community that go there and they're posting pics. I'm like, man, I really want to go.
Right.
We don't have a store like anywhere near that size or anything like that. So I definitely want to go.
It's nerd bucket list stuff, man. Like it's the stuff you hear about,
it
and you want to go. Like San Diego Comic-Con.
You got it.
Same idea.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys. And you picked a good year because it's the golden year of SDCC. So I feel like it's going to be something special. So I'm glad you guys are able to experience it.
I hope so. That'd be a blast. Hopefully, we don't get too fatigued.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's long days, but
Yeah.
you have a lot of fun. I mean, you're walking all day long. You're up from 5 a.m. until late that night. So you're going to get tired, but you're going to have a ton of fun doing it.
I'll have to introduce him to energy drinks instead of tea.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You're gonna
Energy
need something,
drinks,
man.
coffee, lots of sleep.
Well,
So.
yeah.
get that real caffeine going.
Yeah. Some pre-workout maybe.
He's going to have some new bad habits when he gets back. He's like, I don't know. I just picked up all this stuff while I was there.
I went to America. Now I need monsters. Like now.
Where's the nearest rock star?
I
Yeah.
think they make tea-flavored monsters. Right?
They have an Arnold Palmer. I think that's the closest you're gonna get.
I'm pretty sure you could disguise it.
This is lemonade and tea.
Yeah.
This is American tea.
Yeah.
So Larry, speaking of plugs, I said I think it's time for you to do our shameless plug.
Yeah. Do your thing, Larry.
So I've got links to all Tyler's stuff in the notes on our YouTube. I'm sure we'll throw it up on the audio stuff too. So be sure to check him out. And while you're doing that, go check out the STS Guys on Instagram at STS Guys or on Twitter at STS Guys. We're still on the Facebook at the STS Guys, and I'm Larry from the STS Guys.
Yeah.
Shown like a villain.
Chilling like a villain. So for this week's episode 70 of the STS Guys, I have been Jeremy.
It's 71. Hey, it's Larry.
Hey guys, it's been Nate.
And I'm Scott.
And Larry put the wrong episode number in the thing, so I screwed it up.
Oh, I did. My
I don't
bad.
even know where we are anymore.
It's 71. I caught you.
Can you believe we've done this 71 times now?
No, it's crazy.
That's impressive.
All right. So for episode 71, have a great night, guys.
Bye.